Sci-fi shows are either legendary, Star Trek, Firefly, The Expanse, or they disappear into the void, forgotten faster than my New Year's resolution to go to the gym. But today, we're talking about those sci-fi gems that never got the love they deserved. The ones that were either ahead of their time, marketed poorly, or just too weird for the mainstream. So, strap in, grab your laser pistols, and let's count down the top 10 underrated sci-fi series that deserved more love. Dark matter. If you ever wake up in a strange place, no memory, and immediately assume, yep, this is how horror movies start, that's the entire first episode of Dark Matter. A group of strangers wakes up on a spaceship with zero memory of who they are or why they're there. Then, plot twist, they're all dangerous criminals. Oops. So now, they have two choices: embrace their mysterious, possibly terrible past, or try to be better people. Spoiler, it's a lot of both. Created by Joseph Malozzi and Paul Mully, Stargate SG-1 alums, this show has deep character arcs, spaceship battles, betrayal, shady corporations, and a mystery that slowly unraveled like a really good Netflix true crime doc. Sadly, Sci-Fi canceled it after 3 seasons, leaving fans heartbroken, confused, and immediately Googling how to make a change.org petition. Now, why is this particular series underrated? Well, despite the fact that it was overshadowed by The Expanse, the Sci-Fi has a long-standing tradition of canceling great sci-fi for reasons that remain unknown to this day. Fringe. Fringe is what happens when the X-Files and Black Mirror have a science baby, and J.J. Abrams decides, you know what? Let's get wild. FBI agent Olivia Dunham investigates bizarre supernatural crimes with the help of Walter Bishop, a genius scientist who is definitely on a government watch list, Peter Bishop, his snarky, reluctant son who spends 50% of his screen time rolling his eyes, a cow. Yes, an actual cow. Walter insists it helps with the experiments. What can I say? What starts as a simple Monster of the Week show evolves into parallel universes, time travel, body horror, and alternate versions of the main characters. Also, Leonard Nimoy shows up at some point. Yes, that Leonard Nimoy. Fringe was underrated because people thought it was just another X-Files ripoff early on and bailed too soon. Huge mistake. You should check it out. Counterpart. You like spy thrillers? How about alternate dimensions? Now, what if I told you J.K. Simmons plays 2 versions of himself from parallel Earths, and both are absolute badasses? Well, that's Counterpart. A secret organization maintains a gateway between 2 Earths, one just like ours, except things went slightly different. People have doubles, and those doubles are sometimes trying to kill each other. And sometimes those doubles are trying to end each other. J.K. Simmons, aka everyone's dream movie dad, plays Howard Silk, a mild-mannered UN employee who accidentally discovers the biggest conspiracy ever. Then he meets his alternate self, who is basically Jason Bourne with a mustache. This series is so underrated, so much so that I hadn't even heard about it. It aired on Starz. And let's be real, does anyone even still remember what that channel is? The OA. The OA is Stranger Things meets an art film sprinkled with interpretative dance and existential dread. A blind girl named Prairie goes missing for years and then reappears with her sight miraculously restored. She gathers a group of strangers and tells them that she's been in another dimension, and if they help her, she can bring someone else back. This show is mind-bending. It plays with reality, dreams, and questions where the story themselves can shape existence. And then, when it was just about to get really crazy, Netflix canceled it. So why is it underrated? Well, some people just didn't vibe with the artsy, weird storytelling. Others just weren't ready for dimension-hopping yoga battles. Caprica. aka before Cylons went nuts. This is the Battlestar Galactica prequel you didn't watch, but absolutely should. Set 58 years before BSG, it follows two powerful families, the Greystones, who are developing artificial intelligence, and the Adamas. Yes, that Adama, who are caught up in a dangerous underground world. It's about AI, corporate greed, and how humanity accidentally created its worst enemy. Why is it underrated? Well, because BSG fans wanted more space battles, but instead they got political drama and AI ethics debates. Sounds boring, but it's actually good if you give it a chance. The Man in the High Castle. Look, alternate history sci-fi is already wild. See the Wolfenstein games. But The Man in the High Castle cranks it up to 11. Based on Philip K. Dick's novel, it imagines a world where the Axis powers actually won World War II. Great. That's just what we needed, more nightmare fuel. And of course, they divided America. The East Coast belongs to the Nazis, the West Coast to Imperial Japan, and the middle is basically Mad Max, but with fewer car explosions. Then enter the mind-blowing sci-fi twist. Films start appearing that show a different reality, one where the Allies won. So now, our protagonists are caught in a deadly game of rebellion, espionage, and reality-bending insanity. So, had such a great premise, but why was it slept on? Well, it had the insane premise that I mentioned, but people probably skipped it because, history class flashbacks. Wait, this is sci-fi? 12 Monkeys. You know that feeling you get when you watch a time travel movie and suddenly question your entire existence? Congratulations! You're ready for 12 Monkeys. Loosely based on the 1995 movie, this show follows a guy named James Cole, a scavenger in a plague-ridden future who is sent back in time to stop the virus before it wipes out humanity. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. What follows is a twisty, brain-melting ride full of paradoxes, alternate timelines, secret societies, and existential headaches. Imagine The Terminator meets Inception, but with even more conspiracy theories. People basically assumed it was just a cheap TV remake of the movie, when in reality, it took the premise and made it way smarter, way crazier, and arguably better. Orphan Black. Imagine finding out that you have clones. Not just one, not just two, a whole army of them scattered across the world. That's Orphan Black, a show that combines genetics, corporate conspiracies, and one actress doing the most. She-Hulk was terrible, but in this one, Tatiana Maslany, pre-She-Hulk, plays every single clone and not in a haha, look, she just puts on a wig way. No, she completely transforms into different people to the point where you actually forget it's the same actress. Sarah, a punk rock street smart protagonist. Allison, a tightly wound sucker mom who could probably hide a body in her backyard. Helena, a feral, unpredictable assassin with love for snacks and murder. Cosima, a genius scientist who's way too chill considering how messed up everything else. And that's just the start. The show has crazy twists, shadowy organizations, and genetic experiments that will make you side-eye your DNA test results. People heard clone drama for this one and went, The marketing obviously didn't really explain just how bananas this show gets. I highly recommend. The Expanse. Yes, you'll be wondering, why is The Expanse on this list? First, if you love realistic space travel, political backstabbing, and people making terrible decisions that doom entire civilizations, then The Expanse is now your new obsession. Set in a future where Earth, Mars, and the Belt, aka asteroid-dwelling space workers, all hate each other, this show has zero-G gunfights, a terrifying alien proto-molecule, belters speaking a wild mix of English, Creole, and future slang, a woman who can outpolitic anyone with just her voice. Vasarala is a queen, and we stand. It's hard sci-fi, meaning no pew 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 laser battles, just physics, real consequences, and spaceships where a simple air leak can ruin your entire day. Now, this show was actually almost cancelled until Amazon saved it, but despite its huge cult following, a lot of people actually still don't know The Expanse exists. Farscape. Before Guardians of the Galaxy made weird space operas cool, there was Farscape. Astronaut John Crichton gets yeeted across the galaxy, lands on a living spaceship, yes, it's alive, and joins a ragtag crew of escaped prisoners, including a blue priestess who may or may not eat people's energy, a badass warrior covered in leather, because 90s sci-fi loved leather, a tiny, greedy puppet alien who's basically intergalactic Danny DeVito, and an actual Jim Henson Muppet villain named Scorpius who will haunt your dreams. This show was insane, hilarious, trippy, and incredibly emotional. It had wild alien designs, mind-bending plots, and some of the best sci-fi character acts ever. Unfortunately, as great as the show was, it looked too weird for casual audiences, and Firefly ended up stealing its misfit space family thunder. Go figure. So there you have it. 10 underrated sci-fi series that deserve all the love but hardly ever got it. If you haven't watched any of these, fix that immediately. So which one is your favorite? Which one do you think deserved way better, and which one do you think should be on this list? Let me know in the comments, and please do hit that like button so YouTube knows we exist. Please share this video and subscribe to Muveematic. Until next time, go watch a sci-fi series. Peace.